and I'll try to get to that. I've been talking about I've been on a road trip, and for the last 3 years, 4 years now, every summer I've ventured out and I've gone on a road trip for the Lord, getting Oregon out. I'm the first one to walk the talk and not just do the talking, folks. That's the problem with churches and leadership today. Everybody's talking and nobody's doing. And that's why the Lord has stood me up, because I talk and I do. And so I lead not only with my words, but with my actions. And I'm leading Yah's people and His warriors to battle against His enemies on the earth. And so by doing that, I hit the road myself. I'm not one of these preachers, do as I say, not as I do. I would encourage everybody to do what I do. Learn from what I say, and do what I do. I'm here for the Lord. I'm completely sold out 100% for the Most High. I'm here on earth for Him in these last days, and that's the only purpose I have. It's the only part of my life that I hold on to. Is just serving Him, and when that's done, I'm done. I'm done here with earth, and so I look forward to that, because I'm just exhausted. I don't know about you, but I wasn't planning on life being so exhausting. Mother of 4 kids, that alone is exhausting. A ministry, trying to wake up the Lord's people. Been doing that for about 10 years now. That's exhausting. And any way you look at it, everything's usually just, an ungrateful work. But I know the Lord, and if I didn't have Him and His sense of humor, I don't know, it's the only thing that keeps me going. And the support of the Lord's people that are awake, and awaking every day, I find that encouraging, because I hear from a lot of pastors, and I always have, and for the most part, it's kind of amusing, because I know the government works so hard to keep the hatred up around about me all over the internet. It's usually government infiltrators and agents who will join other Christian lists and groups and keep the hatred and opposition going against me, because they don't want people listening to me, listening to what I have to say. And it's because they know who I am. And that's the whole thing. Satan's always more aware than the Lord's people are. They don't have a lick of sense. They don't have any discernment. And they don't ask the Lord for it. They don't seek Him because they think they already know everything. And so it's a war. It's a battle for your mind, a battle for your soul. Satan just attacking every person he can to take every person he can to hell, or put them into apostasy so that they can't learn to hear from the Lord Himself. To keep them dumbed down, to keep them in his form of derisions. He wants you to stay in the churches and apostasies today, because they're all in apostasy. They're all just mind-controlled pawns from the seminaries today. And the seminaries are run from former New Age gurus. And the sheep are too forgiving. They figure, oh, well, he used to be a Satanist. He used to be in the New Age, but he's born again now. And they don't test the fruits, and they just keep dumbing down them and teach them what they want them to know about the Bible. And, I encourage everybody to read the book of Enoch. Enoch should have never been left out. Satan did it on purpose. Study the Council of Nicaea and Constantine and how they put the books together, and you'd be amazed. And if anybody would just read the book of Enoch, your mind would become open to some of the truth that the church is trying to suppress today. But anyway, back to my road trip this year. This year I went east. And I've been focusing a lot on the south. I've been down to Texas, been down to Arkansas, some areas through Tennessee. And last year I focused on the west. I was all the way out at Vegas, in Salt Lake City. I was at Dulce Base in New Mexico. I was in Taos, New Mexico. I was at Los Alamos in New Mexico. I was everywhere. Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado Springs. Had gone through Denver. Just a lot of places last year. And this year was a bit more just tying up loose ends. I left from Ohio and I went pretty much a straight line all the way across Pennsylvania to the border of New Jersey. And out that way is the Delaware Water Gap area. And it's a beautiful area. The Delaware River is pretty long. I know it goes through a couple states, and it's one of their main water sources. And so I hit the Delaware River with some Oregon and all the way across PA. And so that's why I put a little map on my websites. I got one at SherryTalkRadio.com. And you can see, if you just kind of visually look from Las Vegas, which is in southern Nevada, if you draw an invisible line from like the south of Nevada all the way across the United States to the border of New Jersey and Pennsylvania, which you can't really see, but you can see New York, PA. New Jersey's on the other side of PA. It's a little patch of land there on a map. Doesn't look very big. It's not very big anyway, physically. But that's a lot of Oregon, because you figure from that point on all the way over to New Jersey, we've got an Oregon blaster every 2 miles across the United States. And so it almost makes this invisible border cutting the country in half from one coast to the other. The Lord has never sent me into California. And I know we've got warriors out there that have been stepping up and getting those mountains. I know the Wahapachi Mountains, or however you pronounce it, definitely need done. And I know that there's warriors out there getting different areas of California, because the Lord has just never personally stood me up to go out there. I stopped at Vegas and just kind of went all the way across the country from there. But so I thought that was exciting, because just going through about 17 states, knowing we've got an Oregon blaster about every 2 miles through 17 states. And I know that land mass-wise, that doesn't sound like a lot, because, a blaster itself is going to cover 2 to 3 miles. But it changes once it assimilates into the atmosphere. And so that was the whole point, to get a border area to where it assimilates into the atmosphere, because Oregon energy is a living energy and it never dies. And all it will keep doing is producing more and more and more living energy. And living energy is what we live on. Living energy is what the sun gives the earth. It's what makes the plants grow. It's what keeps us alive. It's living energy, a positive energy. And what Satan is trying to do through all this chemtrail and his programs here in the New World Order and in America and in other nations is he's trying to suppress all of the living energy out of the earth. He's trying to suppress the earth from producing living energy, which means everything on the earth would just die. Because if you don't have living energy, you have dead energy, something that's dead. Because no matter what it is, produces energy. If it's a living thing or a dead thing, it produces energy. And so that's what Satan wants, because he's a dead being. He can't stand a living, positive energy. And so he uses these chemtrails, this whole chemtrail program, to try to suppress the living energies of the earth. And so when we go out there and we pump Oregon out into the atmosphere, we're combating his programs of dead energy and turning it back into living energy. We're counterattacking him. We're trying to keep a balance here on earth, because he's trying to overkill us with his dark and evil energy and kill everything on earth. And we're trying to keep him and prevent him from doing that by having a constant presence of Oregon in the air. Because no matter if he chemtrails the country or not, if you've got Oregon in the air, those chemtrails won't stick. They won't stay. And people that have saturated their areas with Oregon, and I was the first one to test it myself years ago, I stated, if